that the Browns are facing a win and get in situation on Sunday, and not just a win and get in, but a win and get in against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the team that has just absolutely tormented them for years. This is kind of the chance, I guess, to put all of those demons to rest for this organization and this football team. Are we expecting the Browns to face the Steelers starters on Sunday?
That is such a great question. And I've been trying to dig around and try to find out what their thoughts and what their plans are. And Mike Tomlin's not speaking today. He doesn't talk until, depending on when you're listening to this, he doesn't speak until Tuesday. So we don't have a great handle. They were very coy about it after the game, about what might happen with who they might start or not. I'm guessing maybe it could be a mix of guys, or maybe they'll rotate guys in more and approach it like that, where, maybe they'll let Ben start the game, and, and then depending on how it goes, they'll get him out of there, or, just something along those lines. But I could see them trying to get their starters a little bit of rest before the playoffs.
So what's interesting here is I think when they went to 7 playoff teams, obviously it made the race to get in more exciting, which we're seeing. But I think the thinking was the race for the number 1 seed would be pretty exciting. But that's all locked up in the AFC. And so the 2 seed is, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but I mean, it's more just kind of a matchup thing. If the Steelers are second or third, and we're recording this before the Bills Monday night game. So we don't know what happened with Buffalo as we're talking here, but it's going to matter, I guess, how much the Steelers want to be second. And I don't know, because this is a team that hasn't had a bye week all season. They lost their bye week to when Tennessee had their COVID issues. I mean, essentially they had the weekend off, but they didn't have a true bye week. And then they lost their Thursday night extended bye, or kind of extended weekend with Baltimore. So I don't know. Maybe they value rest over, kind of positioning and rhythm, which the other side of this is you just played a really good second half. You're probably your best half of football you've played in the month of December. So is there something to maybe trying to keep that going a little bit?
A lot of people have talked about how the Browns are kind of getting hot at the right time. Do the Steelers want to face the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs, right? This is an opportunity for them to knock them out and not have to deal with the two-headed monster. I mean, what if you think about this? What if you rest your starters and then you have to play could they face the Browns in the first round? They could, right?
They could, yeah. It just depends where everybody ends up.
Okay, so you rest your starters, you let the Browns get into the playoffs, and then they come back and beat you in the first round of the playoffs because they are healthy, they can run the football, and anything can happen. So I think that is something to consider. They might want to just get the Browns out of playoff contention if they possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I think that would say a lot about how they feel about their football team, and their chances. Because look, I mean, the Browns are a good team, but if you think you're actually a team that can kind of, if that second half was kind of your get right half, and now you're maybe back to being a Super Bowl contender, I would think you wouldn't be scared of anybody outside of Kansas City. But yeah, I mean, maybe you would be. Maybe you just wouldn't want to face this Browns offense. And like you said, that rushing attack, Myles Garrett, maybe that's just something you don't want to deal with if you're the Steelers. So that's interesting as well. And the other part of this, if they don't play their starters, or if they play them for a half, we see Myles Garrett versus Mason Rudolph again.
There are a lot of things to consider. Another thing to consider is TJ Watt for NFL Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, TJ's on a roll. I think does he lead the NFL with 15 sacks right now?
I'll look it up, but
I think that
he's
might
close
be
if he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, he's been on a tear, and and it's an award that Myles Garrett really wanted. So Myles is 3 sacks behind TJ. TJ has a bunch of tackles for loss and a bunch of quarterback hits. So I would think that that TJ would be ahead of Myles right now. But it sets up a little bit of a showdown between two of the best pass rushers in the NFL. that really wanted this award and that are both still kind of in the running for it.
Yeah, so here's your top five. TJ Watt, 15, Aaron Donald, 13 and a half, Hassan Reddick, 12 and a half. Of course, he had a bunch of those a couple weeks ago. Zadarius Smith, 12 and a half, Trey Hendrickson, 12 and a half. And then Miles Garrett is sixth at 12. So, yeah, TJ Watt probably wants to put the exclamation point on that one. Would you do it? If you're Mike Tomlin, would you play your starters on Sunday, or would you err on the side of caution and rest them?
I would play the starters if I were Mike Tomlin. I would do everything in my power to knock the Cleveland Browns out of the playoffs. It's a division rival. It is a big rivalry, and I do think that the Browns are. You don't want to, open up that door and take the chance of getting beat the next week by your division rival because you didn't play your best football game in the final week of this season.
Yeah, I think I'm playing my guys, especially on offense, because I want to make sure this month was so bad for the Steelers, and I'm a big believer in momentum, especially this time of year. I want to make sure that half yesterday against the Colts when you came back from down what was it, 24-7.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that I mean it wasn't even really a full half. And look, if you come out and you play a really good first half offensively and you feel good about things, then maybe you pull the plug on some guys. But I want to build some momentum. I want to build off of what I did in that second half against the Colts, and kind of put that really awful December behind me.